remember just the date that was, but that was some time ago.
On the left, we have an old-timey sand car, an end-up car that they used to haul coal here years ago. In later years, they used them for sand trips. Pulled them with a 6-ton locomotive. Before we got these new style Jeeps that we have now. Top end of the left and right. You can see over to my left, there's some track coming out, or to my right, tracks coming out. This is what we call the top end of the left and right. The purpose of that light down there is there's a retractor down there that when the car is wrecked, and you pull them across that retractor, it puts the cars back on the track. And in case we have one wrecking coming into the switch and it don't come on with their retractor, then we see with that light. That is a 300 volt light bulb. And I'll shine my light on the retractors right in high. Right up here comes the retractors. These are the retractors right there. Puts the cars back on the track. What we call well right. The reason we made the turn back at 11 right and are making these turns at 12 right, 15 right, and 20 left is to the left of us we have a rock roll where the coal completely vanished, and it's probably approximately 1,000 feet through the rock roll. Now this rock roll has been attempted several times to go through. So we can take all these turns out at bad top. As we go around, we'll show you what we're talking about. When we get back around 15 right and all of the bad tops. As you you can see here, some of this area has got bolts in it with wood hay feeders. You have cracks over top of the rock, but it is bolted, which makes it safe. And in 1985, we decided we would try to start to go through that rock roll again. Determined we didn't have enough coal left to pay for what it would cost for millions of dollars to go through the rock roll. See, there's a big high falling out area here where the top fell out. There you see the rock dropped on each side. Now we're back in here to no roof, folks. Just a smooth, slick top. Another thing, there never was no 13 right in this mine. There was a 13 left as they numbered these panels as they drove this mine in from the surface. Now what you have is the religious belief, or the belief of a 13 being bad luck. That's why there were no 13 right. As we go around here, around the rock roll, you can look behind where they had very little coal. They were having to take all this rock to make up for the hive. We are coming up on 15 right overcast, and this is where they found the last of the man, Ed Burney.
Right here is a place that we ran out of coal. It got so low we couldn't mine it with the equipment we had. So we had to make a right turn just back out by from where we just passed by and went back in here right-handed and mined coal back in there. And we got an old chain conveyor that was built back in the late 1980s, or 1880s. And we put it in here and we drove 3 headings through here and then shot the rock in this heading to get higher equipment through. And well, we got through it up here around this curve a little ways to where we could go back to mining again.
Dave, stop up here where it's real low and we can shoot a picture, you know, where you can see underneath the rock there? Yeah. Right around the turn here. There's an old duckbill loading machine sitting over in behind this overcast on the left side. It's been sitting there from the time that they got finished with it. That old duckbill loader's right over there.
Yeah, right over there. See, right here is where it starts getting higher. And this was the bottom of the dip. We started back up here. And you turned over again by the chair, bent louder now. Yeah, see?
Yeah, it gets lower right here. Of course, right over in here, you can see how low that the actual height was there. And then they come back and they shot all this rock out to make the height to get the bigger equipment through. See how low it was there.
right here was where we had some real bad roof conditions here, and it could have been taken care of. But there was a few people around that didn't think that it could be taken care of right. So they told me to shoot it in. And I told them if they shot it in, that we'd be down for 2 weeks. Knock the men out of work, that I could do it on shift. Like just ahead of us there, where I had started taking it. I'd take 2 foot of that rock and set 2 headers. And they made me shoot it in, and it fell, this whole thing come in, just like I told them. And the men lost 2 weeks' work over people not knowing what they was talking about. Let's go.
As you can see up here, it fell on the right. Shine my light back in there if I can. Now all of that is laying down on nothing but the steel beams and the headers. These blocks this was built out of is a concrete with a wire mesh in it. We took this roof back in '85 and made this height to take out some dilapidated old beams and stuff. You can see the wood on the right and left, the old wood headers mixed in with these steel beams.
Right here is 20 left. I was section foreman in this area right here. I believe it was 1957. I came in to work one evening at 4 o'clock, and one of my men, a fellow by the name of Finest Winchester, walked up in the face of the place, and he turned around, and a piece of slate fell and caught him in the back of the head, and he was killed instantly. Something nobody could help. It was one of those things that happened in the coal mines, just like on the highways or anywhere else. But it's something I thought of all my life.
We're coming around 20 left turn here. This is the other side of the rock roll. Started at the top end of 11 right on the turn. It would just only be 1,000 foot if you came straight through the rock roll area. But we had to go around it. due to the vast trouble we would have had trying to go through. That is a bore hole that goes to the surface. We pump 6 inches of water out of. That is an Octavia hollow. We also put AC power, 4,160 volts underground, and convert it to 300 volt AC. So that's the recloser that will reclose the station on the surface. We have power stations on the left and the right. Going down what they call 22 dip. At one time this mountain stopped here and they started filling, pull it back, and it reopened. And at that time they had to come back through the same area that they'd started filling. That's the reason there's so many cribs, headers, and beams. Dip overfits right here.
Right here is where we got the new equipment. We changed over from Joy's to Jeffrey equipment. And right here is where we started gaining control on tonnage and picked up tonnage to where the mine could continue to operate with the great expense they had of this old main line all the way between here and the drift, number 4 mine. Right through this area here was where the first 142 cars was loaded. I was the section boss. And from there we went on from 142 to 160, 165, right along throughout this there valley through here where we're at now. Loaded lots of coal. There was only 4-ton cars. But we thought we was flying back then. Now they've got those big miners and things that could cover up what we just little bunch of coal in a bucket to what they run today. Okay, let's go.
This is a 6-inch pump that pumps water to the surface out Octavia Hollow. This is right in the middle of 22 dip. It's a 50 horsepower, 6-inch Gorman root pump.
I built that overcast on a 3rd shift. We had the bottom of it already up, and I brought some men in, and 3 men, and we muscled those pipes up there and put them in. And I can't tell you when, because it's been so long ago I forgot. But that was a hard job to do, and I done it in 1 shift. Let's go.
Well, we'd have got 2 now, but let's go there. over there that they've taken out of the track over the years. The old wood ties replaced with new ones. Some of those old ties, ribs were built out of them. Help support some of these wide areas. Old rails laying there on the right. We're getting ready to go up what we call 18-car turn hill. They had a section in here to the right. They used to turn the cars underground. They didn't have to take them to the outside to turn them around. If they went through the load hole, they didn't get loaded. There's the grid built out of the old ties years ago. Creek in the middle of the track there is a hole. Now we use locomotives that's got transmissions on them with gear reduction versus back in the old days when they didn't have nothing but the pull gear with the motor and a pinion. Now we're getting ready to go up 18-car turn hill right now.
Right here is where I came in one night and made a fire run. And the gas had backed up a full brake length in all places. And it was so much in there that I couldn't get it out. So I laid a pipeline from here back to 17 Dip and put a pump and pumped water to this place and wet the whole thing down before I could eliminate the gas so the people could work the next day. That was a long time ago. This is this little hill, ain't it?
Yes, 18-car turn hill.
Yeah.
Okay then.
We hit another road right down here. Where I put that belt line through the line.
Yeah. We've got a place down here that we call 23 Lead. We pump a lot of water now from the active part of the mine. And then it runs down in what is 23 Lead and it disappears. Nobody knows where the water really goes. It's been pumping like that for years. Right here you can see on the left is the water lines. It's 23 Lead right down in there. Recently we cut into an old sealed area in January. We had to lay 2 discharge lines, 2 4-inch discharge lines. One of those were already in. And we had to lay another one to pump all the water before we cut into that old work and flooded the mine. When I got there, the water was up to your knees running down every entry. We did not lose none of the equipment. We did have a problem getting all the water pumped out. We were down about 3 days. There's the DC rectifier there where we convert that 4,160 volts down to 300 volt DC. We're coming in to a switch down here. This switch is old 17. Old 17 section used to be up in there. We're driving a panel right in between this old section that was drove back years ago and old 19 right section. That's where we're actively working now. And on June the 10th of 1992, we will shut all this main line down. A lot of history to this old mine. Right there is an old mine car. It's what we call the drop bottom car. As you can see, it's beat up pretty bad. Somebody put it under a boom hole, shot the rock down because they didn't want to load it out.
No, that's not exactly true, buddy. That was a big slate fall right back here at the mouth of this section, this switch. They wrecked there and jerked out the timbers and headers, and that slate fell on 3 of those cars. As we passed by, you got a picture of that high top back there.
Yeah, right there at old 17 switch.
I took the powder and crawled up and under that rock around the sides of those cars and put powder in between those cars, and I shot the links in 2. And I hooked locomotives together and put ties under them and pulled them each way and shoved them off in the breakthroughs out of the way. And that way I wasn't down but about 6-7 hours because the rock was in the cars. Happened to be empties coming in. They wrecked at that switch back there.
Yeah.
So, son, I shot them down in cars, but I hit them. Let's go.
Yeah, there's one right down there.
It's shut off. Shut from this lake fall here.
So this one that fell out here?
Yeah, this is the one that they called me out of the hallway and said they were shut down over here, and Mr. Davis was in here, and him and Jim Yoakum.
Yeah.
And I sent them home when I got over here. They're just in my way. I shot the cars into there and got them out of the way.
Yeah, stop down here, Dave, this other car just a minute. We'll just take a little quick picture of it and then go on up to the switch there.
That's another one of them. Had it cost us more money to take the rock off of them because the cars was damaged, if we just shove them out of the way and leave them and get back in production. I'm not sure, but I believe there's one more down here somewhere, and I might have passed it. It's been 12 years since I've been in here. Let's go.
Ready to go into what we call 4 main dip. This was a dip where you had a dip in the coal seam, and it wasn't until 1982 that we shot this dip in and made the elevations where it was easier to keep from wrecking the cars as the cars came in and out. Used to, you had a pump here and the water stayed in the track. With a lot of problems with that. our belt line now. This is our active belt line, Dad, going up to the section now. It's a 42-inch Continental.
This is that block of coal that comes back in behind old 17 right down there, don't it?
Yeah, an old 16 section.
Yeah, where Rudolph Compton and Roy Fields was in.
Yeah.
That's where they mined it in. And up here is where that substation.
The old 19 right borehole goes out
Yeah,
to Gabriel
goes
Fork
out.
of Johns Creek,
Yeah.
right here on the right. We'll go up the empty branch, Dave, and walk over to the loadout, and we'll film that, and I'll get part of the empty branch and part of the load hole that way.
I'll get the belt head drive. Where's it at?
It's up here at the loadout. We get it to dump and the cars on it. Switch to the right there goes to our active section. That's where we're up in there mining right now. That red light back there that I just shot would be turned on and let the people know when the empties was coming in. And when those empties come in, then the people coming out of that switch knows that the cars is coming in and not to come out on the main line. There's Paul Williamson.
Hey!
That's that guy that's got the big nose sitting in the back. That's his brother.
Do what?
Okay, that's a section going to the switch. That's where we're actually mining. That's where Dad ran off and left it. It was too bad for him to mine, and he couldn't get it. So now, years later, we're going back and getting it. Watch them lights. But Dad, you can tell them that you guys was candy rumps and you couldn't get that coal up in there, so we had to go back and get it now. Y'all run off and left it back in 1969 when you went through there.
Well, it's a long story about that because we had to get outside to get ventilation so you could come back and get this after we got too old again. We had to make it easy for you.
Yeah. Up here sitting on the left is what they call the lower end of the 45, and that is where you go out to Shop Hollow Drift. Shop Hollow was cut out in 1976. Yeah, doing good. Doing good.
Y'all getting ready to come back out?
Yeah, we'll be straight back out. All right. Switch to your right we put in 1985 when we made the belt turn around, and that is a load hole switch. That's where they bring the loads out after they're loaded, and the empties. That's where we're going now, right up in the empty branch. This is commonly referred to as the motorman's paradise. The building on the left was an old parts building that was put in there. There was an old shop that was put in there.
That's PJ's Lounge.
PJ's Lounge. That's for Parky. Uncle Parky's boy kept all his maintenance parts because it was so far outside to go get the parts when they had a breakdown. It's probably 2 more miles from here on out to Shop Hollow.
But straight ahead, there's an opening and comes out on Gabriel.
Comes out over there on Pritchard to Gabriel. And it's probably 3,000 feet if you went straight ahead and went outside that way. Okay, Dave. walk straight outside 3,000 feet to Gabriel, Fork, and John Street. This used to be part of the old main line years ago, but now it's only an empty branch.
Pull these pillars.
No, we probably won't. We ain't got nowhere to take the coal out, buddy. This is some of the best pillars there are in the whole mines. We'd like to start down there as old main did. Pull the pillars back out to the shop on it. This is gravy through here. You can see it's starting to get dusty. We've got 2 men up here rock dusting, which is the white dust that we put on to allay the coal dust in case you have a fire or an explosion. This rock dust is heavier than the coal dust and keeps the coal dust down. Up here you'll see the rock duster. You'll see our belt line, and you'll see a couple tires laying there. The reason those tires is there is for a braking system on the car spotter over here. What I say, Tiny?
You come across, didn't you? You cut out over here in 019 and then set belt drive and come across here, didn't you?
No, we come back, Dad, over from Shop Hollow back up that way and then cut over right here and put this loadout in 1984. And then see the belt used to go back out that way over into everything over around the old 19 right and 16 section. And then where y'all couldn't handle getting a rough coal over here, we come back and got it on this side.
You're getting gravy, what Dad left.
I know you do. Danny Station. That's Tiny. Yeah.
You just in time to help me.
Are you getting ready to dust?
Let me tell you a story about helping you.
I know.
Last day I was...
And we're going to have to hurry him back.
They're all getting all easy calls. We need somebody to get back here and get this.
It's hard to get stuff, ain't it?
Yeah, you got a good setup here, haven't you?
Yeah.
Needs cleaned up.
Well, it needs cleaned up. That's your Continental belt take-up. It's 42 inch. Yeah, you're right. It needs cleaned up. I want you to look here. That belt looks like it ran off last night.
What do you got, you take up here?
Yeah, you got your Continental drive here, and then you got your take-up there. We got a remote idler on our belt drive. Yeah, we're not going to look down at the ground here. Buddy, I want you to look yonder.
Tell you what, some little belts are on the ball.
Yeah, I'll have to get them boys down here on this. Now, son, they got coal in them cars. Of course, this is the loadout here. The tip of where we load the cars.
Against the law to have them over there without a lid on them.
No, them's empty, buddy. You don't have to worry about them anymore.
They've changed.
That's the brakes there that holds the cars when they're loading them, keep them from running out.
What did you do up there,
That's the way we cut into this thing. This belt was sitting over on this side here to start with, and then we moved it around and tucked it out over on that side. Right there is the big hydraulic unit for the car spotter. paddles there automatically throws the tipple gate to load the cars.
How long you work? When did you start? You was on what, 87?
Yeah,
Did you start in 4 or did you start?
I started in 79.
It's a V wiper there that scrapes the coal down on the cars. Of course, there's the loads going out.
Monday morning on track, and somebody else, I don't know who it was now. And then I stayed there a long time. I worked about 3 years. And then I got hurt and was off almost a year. And then I come back and worked a while. Back in the 7 and worked just a short period of time, and they shut it down. Transferred me to number 6, worked at number 7. And then I transferred to number 4.
You got it going now.
And I came to this mines and went to work, and then I got cut off, and I was off for about 18 or 19 months. And I made foreman papers while I was off from work, and I came back as a section foreman. And that's where I spent the next 27 years, as a foreman here. And over number 7, number 8, and number 4 mine. We shut number 7 and number 8 down, and we only left us with number 4 mine. And in 1979, I got to where I couldn't do my job good, and I realized that, and I retired. And here, 12 and a half years later, I'm back here with my son, and I'm awful proud of it.
He's windy. But I came over here in 1981 from A5 over on Blackberry, and I've been here since 1981 till 1992. And I guess we'll finish up this track haulage, the old part of the mine, on June the 10th, 1992.
Now, there's a lot of things that I recall happening in these mines that would take me a month to talk about. But right up through this area here, everybody wanted a job as a section foreman in this beautiful high coal here. Now, if there was any way at all that they could get this coal, this is big money through this here area right here, I would say there's something like 500,000 tons that could be got, but it would cost a whole lot to get it, so they can't afford to pull these pillars backwards, because they just couldn't make it. They couldn't make no money, and they'll liable to get somebody killed, and all the coal in this coal mine is not worth one man's life. Well, I guess we'll leave it at that, and I'll get out of here, and I'll never come back to the coal mines again. I have said that before, but here I am here on May the 1st of 1992. So I'll go on out and go back to Florida. Ford Motor Company got this from Pond Creek Coal Company. Ford sold it to the Turney Brothers. Turney Brothers sold it to Eastern Coal. And Eastern Coal sold it to Pittston. And what happened before Eastern got it was for my time. Not move the cars out of the way to get that man outside. And all I had to do was push him back, and the evidence of what happened was still there. And I took him outside. I took the man outside and sent him on off, and then I brought everybody in here. And I still left the motor jacked up just like it was. Oh, but I got the cars back, cut the cars to where I could get Mr. Richardson out of London. And it was a freak accident. just like I believe most likely was like Ed Brunny. When I showed you down there where Ed Brunny got run over with the motor. I believe the same thing happened here, other than the car didn't jerk it back. I think that Charles Simpson was tail motor, and I think Mr. Richardson's motor pole come off, and he got up to put his pole on, and Charlie bumped it. And I think he headed out in the front of it, and he bumped it just hard enough to run it over top of him, not to go nowhere. It's the way it was written up, and that's the way I believe it happened. And that was the last man that's been killed here in this mines that I know of. I don't know how many's been injured.
You don't even know how many's been killed, really.
Well, all I know is from 1946, in all three mines all four mines I worked in. See, the first man that I worked with that got killed was old man Hobart Fields. I had just been working 3 weeks in the coal mines, and I quit. But I was only quit 2 weeks, and I went back, because it scared me. And then I guess Oliver Adger was killed. Then there was a Smith boy from down at Dameron Town. Bumped coal like this out on him and killed him. Broke Trap Fowler's leg. No, not Trap Fowler. Broke Kirk Harlow. And they loaded something like 200 cars of coal from where that big bump had come, and shot the coal out all over, and that was old 7.5 mains. And then old colored boy by the name of Doodad was braking over there, and he was riding the head end of the car, and it shoved him through a trapdoor and killed him. And then from there, I believe that was the last man until old man John Johnson, Eugene Johnson, an old boy, Sputnik we used to call him, the safety committee here for years. It was his father. And he raised his head up going under some steel headers at number 7 mine, and his head caught against the top of the motor in the steel rail, and he lost his life there. Then the next man that I remember was in number 8 mine, was Dennis Akers, a brother to the Aker boy that I showed you back down the main line a piece. A piece of slate fell and just kind of hit him in the back, a very small piece of slate, but it jerked his spinal cord in two. And he was leaning up against the cutting machine when that happened in number 8. I was the one that went there with the inspectors to inspect that, to what happened. And we never could determine, other than that is really what happened, that the slate fell and the edge come down, and when it hit him in the back, it pushed it down and jerked his spinal cord in two. And other than that, there wasn't a bruise on him. So, and I believe that he was the last man that lost his life here. I'm not sure.
Mike Cleggan. Number 8.
Yeah, little Mike Cleggan. Starting box blowed up on him up in on 32 section, up in 2 butts, wasn't it?
2 butts of number 8.
And he tried to get out of the motor, and it was so low coal till it rolled him. I believe it went over him, didn't it?
Hit 3 cars run over. 3 man truck.
He jumped out and out of the motor in the front of it, and it was such a low coal, I figure he fell. Because you could see where his shoulder had drugged the top of the rock dust off him, and where he dropped. I figured when his shoulder hit that top, that he just headed out in front of it to keep from being rolled back over top of the motor. That's what I believe happened. I got there, well, they got him outside before I didn't go in, because I just called and told them to bring him on out. Sterl Harris told me he was dead. And I got him outside. I can't remember if there's been anybody else or not.
That was the last one beside John Richardson.
Was that before John or after?
That was before John. That was about 73 when Mike Cleggan got killed, and it was around 74 or 75 when John Richardson got killed, because I was section boss and on 14 section on second shift up here, and he got killed that evening about 5 o'clock. Because we just got to the section and they called out to the section and said, pull the man trip. The man had got killed. And they done had him out from under the motor, and he was outside by the time we walked back and got the man trip and come off the section. And John Richardson was the last one.
Boy that got killed over 7.5 that got run through the trap door, he was not a brakeman, but he could brake. The boss asked him one morning would he brake that day, and he says, well, yeah, he says, I'll brake. He says, but I'm afraid I'll get killed, but I'll try to brake anyway. And that was his last day. He did get killed that day.